Don't you think that's just parents or adults manipulating kids because they can? It's bullying.
No, it's not. Like I said, it's the culture. No, it's not.
I learned growing up that you can't be lazy. And that's something we're going to get into, maybe how we were raised and the differences there. My childhood, as I've talked about, was very strict and forceful, and you did certain things, and if you had nothing to do, then we'll find you something to do. But I was very fearful of being lazy. When I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, 8 to 10, maybe to 11. It was for a while. It was for a couple years of my life that if I had nothing to do and my stepdad wasn't at home, that whenever I would hear the car rumbling down the road, because we lived on a dirt road in North Georgia, and so I could hear him coming from about a mile away on a dirt road. Like you could hear somebody coming, and like we lived at the end of a very long dirt road in the woods. If the house was clean, everything was clean, there was nothing to do, and somebody thought I was being lazy, and my stepdad was a very manipulative, mean person, so I would hear him rumbling down the road. What I would do is I would run out of the house, go downstairs. I would mess up things. I'd mess up things so that when he got there, walking around to seeing what I was doing if I was lazy, that I could be putting back the things that I messed up.
Why the basement?
That's a good question. It seemed the best place that I could hide as well, because he yelled for a long time. He would yell for a long time, and I don't know if the yelling would lead to other things. And so as a child, I always thought, if I'm in the basement, he'll come down here and either be pleased at what I'm doing or find disapproval, but be quick about it and leave. Mm-hmm. And then what I would do, because I hated my childhood so much, is when he would come down and he would leave, I would clean it back up in a few minutes, and I would just sit there. I would just sit in the dark basement mm-hmm. with cockroaches and bugs and whatever. And this is probably why I'm not afraid of them now, because it was better sitting there by myself, not being in a house upstairs where if I was and I had nothing to do, he would find me something to do. And so I'd be 9 years old. I'm like, I guess I'll find something to do, which was always like, maybe I could sweep that corner again. And maybe you guys have been in a situation where it's just like you're like controlled so much that it's like you're doing things that like don't even matter. Like, let me go clean that thing. My point is, I could not sit around on a couch. Not a day of my childhood was sitting on the couch. Part of my childhood was taken from me from that, because I should have been able to relax. I should be able to enjoy that. But I think that's why I have a certain type of energy now that's a good thing, that I'm a doer. I see things. I'm not lazy at all. But I don't force this upon my kids, obviously, because they can be pretty lazy at times in a good way, because we want them to have a good childhood. Yeah. No, like I said, we want them to have a good childhood.
Yeah, but I'm saying I wouldn't call it lazy overall generally.
Yeah, they're not lazy at all. They're not lazy at all.
I think that as a normal child, obviously don't have the thoughts or brain of an adult, which is why we're saying we need to teach them certain things. Your mind is not going to tell you just clean up, even though sometimes they do. Like, they're very proud when I cleaned up Jersey's toys and I put the cars away and I did this. I'm like, okay, thank you for telling me. Like, I'm glad. But
that's great. That's what we want. We want them to feel part of a team, the teamwork.
Yeah. No, I'm saying when they do that, they're very proud of it. I'm like, thank you for telling me, or thank you for helping out. But I think just in general, kids just don't have that. Obviously, you don't expect them to. They're kids. They're learning the world. They're learning the ways.
We don't want them to. I mean,
all that stuff. So they're never going to just be like, oh, looks like I could vacuum. Let me go grab the vacuum. Not until maybe they're 14. They're not going to do that right now. And I don't want them to be honest. And this is part of, what I think we're talking about is, for me, my experience growing up, because the culture I grew up in, like, I was made to be like, you're a servant in this house, Mm-hmm. It wasn't even like you have nothing to do. It's like, no, there's things that need to be done, and you're going to do them.
Don't you think that's just parents or adults manipulating kids because they can? It's bullying.
No, it's not. Like I said, it's the culture. No, it's not. You can go to Nigeria at any point in time.
I don't care if it's culture. It's bullying. You can call it culture. Whatever culture it is, it's still bullying kids.
I'm saying you cannot put it in that mindset, say that it's manipulating, it's whatever. It's gone for generation. Just like before, when kids used to be out on the farms with their things, it's just generation. Yeah, maybe it's not what a kid should be doing, getting up at 4 a.m. to do whatever, but it's just what you were supposed to do. So what I'm saying is, I'm not agreeing with it or not, but let me finish telling my story. So that is what I was given as a child. I can remember being dropped off at the laundromat, because we didn't have a washer and dryer, dropped off at the laundromat with everybody's clothes and sitting there, just me and my sister sitting there until laundry was done. Like, my mom was like, okay, I'll come back when it's done. We're sitting at the laundromat, washing clothes, folding, doing all that. Like, and I'm like, this, I don't feel like I should be sitting here doing this. Like, dude, I should be having fun. I should be doing this. Did I have times of having fun? Yes, because my mom, you know, when she left my dad, she was working so much that we were by ourselves, like a lot. Like latchkey kids is the term you use. Like you go to the school bus by yourself to get on to school, and when you get home, there's nobody there as well. So we were latchkey kids. Nobody was hardly ever around. And even when we were with my dad, like I had so many siblings, they just like, whatever, you guys figure it out. So we spent a lot of time by ourselves, and those times like we would have fun. I mean, we just disappear. We do that stuff. But I knew that when a parent was around, like my mom was around, especially my mom being a single mom of the three of us, like, and me being the oldest and a girl, which is again part of the culture. And this is what I was telling you about, like, as a girl, you're already made to feel like you should be domestic. Like you're already made to feel like that automatically. So then when it's like pushed and pushed and pushed, like my brother, I don't think did barely anything. Truthfully, I think barely did anything. But my sister, who's even younger than him, like we were made to do things because we were made to be domestic. And that's just the mindset that was in my mom's mind, because that's just how she was raised. That's what she knows. That's how she's taught. That's the culture. You should be domestic. You should be able to clean. You should be able to cook. You should do the laundry. I'm doing my brother's laundry. I'm like, my brother's a year behind me. He could totally do laundry too. That's just the mindset. And it was for so long. And from a pretty early age, I remember it not in a way of it taught me this, that, or that. I think I didn't start learning anything from it until I was of an age where it mattered to me. Before that age, it just felt like labor. So that is what I'm saying, is that until you get to an age where your mind is like, oh, I get it, why it matters to me, it's just labor. I felt like I was like, you are the labor in this house. Well, you
felt like that because nobody communicated with you. There's different conversations there. I think, one, we don't labor our kids. They don't have to do things in that regards. They have parents and other things. But the other thing is that we communicate very well to our kids. Your mom, dad, you know, all these different people, they didn't tell you. They just told you to do things. Just like when I was growing up, go do the dishes. So yeah, I felt like I was just as strong, because when I was a kid, I was strong. I was like, okay, I'm going to go do these things. But I also wanted to do those things because I didn't want to be in the house. So it's like, you know, it taught me good things as an adult that like I wish I didn't have to learn as a child, because the main lesson here is we want our kids to have a good childhood. You have one childhood, don't f it up. That's it. I had a childhood that was not as good as it could have been because it was messed up by adults who bullied me, and they said, we're going to make you do all these things and we're going to put fear in you. And that's the biggest thing, is I had fear in me, because when you're a 12-year-old kid or an 8-year-old kid, you are scared of adults, right? And it wasn't until later when I'm like, oh, I'm just as big and strong as this guy who's bullying me around. Let me try to, next time he puts his hands on me, I'm going to put my hands on him. And that was the last time he ever did it, because I realized that I was stronger than this person like last time, right? But up until that point, it was bully and manipulation. There was never explanation. What I'm saying is that